Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, and Mr. Comrade, this is Kenya Revolution. How are you doing out there? I'm about to bring you this short video just to mention what's next after NADCO talks, recommendations. Now, we are now in the clear. The president embraced the report, and Raila Odinga, the day before yesterday, also embraced the report. So what's next? You heard from Raila's speech the other day, and he said that they will move this thing to the parliament, okay? And once the parliament ratifies and approves this thing, it will be taken for a referendum. And to quote Raila, he said they will take it to the people for a referendum so that it stops anybody who is trying to be mischievous from going to the courts and stopping it. And I argued in my previous case that, in my previous videos, that this will still go to the courts because it is not a people-initiated proposal, okay? Remember, the BBI was stopped because it was a plan that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta agreed upon, and they were trying to shove it through the parliament to be taken for a referendum, but people refused. You know, somebody went to the courts and said, and the court judge adjudicated on the matter, saying that it wasn't a people initiated proposal, meaning this did not come from the ground, okay? You can't have two people, in this case, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, sending their emissaries at Bomas to come up with a raft of changes for them to change the constitution. It doesn't work that way. It has to be something that comes from the people. And how does it come from the people? The issue should have been should have emanated from the legislative body, debated at the legislative body, okay? And the members of parliament should have had public participation, and then it should have been voted on, all right? And then brought for a referendum, okay? That's how it works. But these guys just sent a bunch of people, I think 7 people or 8, whatever the case is, led by Chungwa and Kalonzo Musyoka, and they came up with this agreement, and now they want to shove it down the parliament for it to be brought for a referendum for the people to vote on, okay? So that alone, if somebody goes to court, if you are to follow the constitution, the whole thing is illegal. You cannot just have conjure up some proposal and take it to parliament to be voted on, then have the matter to be voted on in a plebiscite. It does not work that way. That's just illegal. So by that alone, this thing will stop. But here's the thing. So what's the next step? Because now it makes it clear to the Wananchi that the political class, both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, they're not advancing the people's interest. What I will say is this. If you listen to Raila's speech carefully, he said that he was very clever. Remember, I made a video mentioning this. He wants these positions that the constitutional change, the amendments that they want to make on the constitution. He wants this because he gets to benefit in this. This is not an attack to Raila. I'm just trying to disabuse the Azimio folks from this notion that Raila does not want this chair, Imambo, prime minister. No, he wants it. And I played a video from 7 months ago when this Mandamano started, and the Azimio folks came in and said that they wanted something similar to the Kofi Annan talks, okay? Kofi Annan talks, which is a power-sharing arrangement, okay? And in order to have that, they have to amend the constitution to create this position of prime minister, prime secretary, whatever, cabinet secretary, and the official opposition office, whatever, okay? Again, it has to come through a referendum. You can't just vote on parliament, then amend the constitution. No, we have to have a plebiscite. But again, I say, it's not a people initiative. So this cannot pass. Somebody can still go to the court and this thing will stop, just like they stopped the BBI. But again, just to come back to Azimio folks, okay? Because I'll tell you how they will create this. Initially, I told, and I still keep to this, the only way this thing can pass overwhelmingly and have the majority of Kenyan people have their minds swayed to vote for it is to the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza working together by creating a crisis, creating an atmosphere conducive, okay, to sway the minds of Kenyans. And how will they do that? They will do that through a mandamano. There's a massive mandamano coming either the end of this year or sometimes next year. And this is how I'll show you why this is going to happen, okay? Because remember in the speech yesterday by Raila Odinga, he said that, he made it very clear that, he tried to paint this picture that it wasn't the Azimio side that really advocated for this position and the amendment of the Constitution. In his submission, he was trying to convince us that the Azimio side only cared about the electoral justice and the cost of living coming down. But he also mentioned that, unfortunately, the Kenya Kwanza guys did not budge. So they could not come to agreement in regards to the cost of living. But then he did not stop there. He also mentioned that because they did not agree, he still agreed to all this, he made concessions on this position of official opposition and all this easy macheo. He agreed on that, but he said he won't stop fighting for the cost of living going down. He will use other means. Now, what do you think he's going to use? So, while he has agreed for this proposal by the NADCO, he has embraced it for it to go to Parliament. He knows that probably Parliament will probably vote for it because the legislative body is just a bunch of illiterates, okay, with the exception of a few like Okiya Omtata. But the majority of them shall pass this, okay? Now, if the court agrees to, somebody does not challenge it to the court or the court, vote favorably for this thing to go on, it will go to a plebiscite. And the people will vote no for it. Raila knows that. But the only way he can persuade the majority of Kenyans to vote for this stuff, okay, this proposal by NADCO, it is to create an environment that will force Kenyans to see it as a better alternative. And how do you do that? It's mandamano, okay? Already we had Sifuna today say that, Baba, tafadhali, we are suffering, people are complaining, they want us to ambie, just give us the go-ahead so we can go back to mandamano. They will organize, the Azimio folks, shall organize a massive mandamano while Ruto is continuing to bring the economy down. So, Raila will continue doing what he's doing, which is complaining about everything that Ruto is doing wrong, okay? Then he will finally call for mandamano. And the mandamano will be carried out in the name of trying to force the government to bring the cost of living down, okay? That will be the reason for going for mandamano. This will be a mammoth mandamano. They are going to organize it. Uhuru is going to fund it. Maina Njenga will bring the manpower to cause havoc, whether it's bringing violence to businesses and people, okay? And Raila will rally his psychotic strong supporters, okay? Then they shall go and have mandamano. And in this mandamano, Ruto will obviously unleash all the security forces out there to have a clash with the protesters, and we shall have atrocities, okay? This thing will last maybe, they'll try to drag it as far as they can. Already, Nyanza province, Raila say, let's go, we're going. Nairobi will be on fire. Listen, you don't have to have all the 8 provinces to get out and for mandamano, okay? Majority of Kenyans want the cost of living down. Raila will use this to call on people to go to mandamano. Remember, there's some people who will come out to this mandamano thinking that that's the main reason why Raila is calling for this. But the thing, the reason why they shall make this happen is because they will try to create, okay, a conflict, unrest in the country. And how do they do that? It's by Raila rallying people to go in the mandamano. Most of the people will come to mandamano with a good heart, good intention of protesting against the cost of living. But some people will be going there with one reason alone, to cause chaos. Okay? And there shall be clashes between the police and the protesters. And there'll be killings, there'll be chaos, and there'll be carnage. Okay? And there'll be the clergymen and the Haman Manyoras of this world who will go to the media and say, these gentlemen need to talk. We need to have some answers. We cannot have this chaos. It's chaotic. The government can't continue doing its business if they can't govern, because wananchi are out of hand. There's business being destroyed. Economy is being destroyed. People are dying. There's carnage in the country. Okay? And guess what? Ruto and Raila shall call for another meeting. And when they call for another meeting, remember, the public shall be so overwhelmed by the violence and the crisis that has been created by these two factions. Okay, people will be like, we are just tired of this. Can these two people just sit down and have an agreement for the sake of peace? Okay, so then they shall come in and sit down, and this thing shall be brought in parliament. Okay. Because now the people will be like, wananchi will be like, you know what, for the sake of peace, let these two people sit down and just, let's agree on this. Okay? Then it shall be brought into parliament, and it will be brought to a referendum. That way, mentally, they shall persuade a lot of people. Already they are doing this. You had both sides of the aisle, whether it was Wetangula, whether it's Raila Odinga, whether it's Wandanyi, whether it's Umatangi. They are already telling us, for the sake of peace, let us embrace this NADCO proposal. Now, for a thinking human being, why should we agree to this? And how does agreeing to this NADCO proposal, this creation of prime minister position, the chief cabinet secretary, the official opposition office, how does that bring peace to Kenya? Do we have to accommodate a few demagogues in order for us to have peace in Kenya? That is how we should think logically as Kenyans. But again, I say, these guys will create this crisis through mandamano and violence and carnage, and create this perception in the minds of Kenyans through using media and gruesome pictures of people getting shot down, people hacking down each other, business being destroyed, and the country coming to a standstill. These are the images that will be pushed and pumped into the eyes of Kenyans, into the minds of Kenyans, convincing them that without these positions created for these demagogues, we shall have this carnage. So it's better for us to pass and go have a referendum so that this position can be created. This is what they are going to do. Watch the space. That's why you see Raila right now, he's rallying around all over, having this, he's preparing people for this mandamano, and not only mandamano, he's also preparing people for another plebiscite, okay, for a referendum, so they can create this position. So I'm telling you, these two are in cahoots, Raila Odinga and William Ruto. They know what they're doing, and they're just using others to do this. So, like I say, just in summation, in order for this thing to pass, there shall be a mandamano. This mandamano will be used, okay? They will pretend that they're going to mandamano because of cost of living. But the real reason for this mandamano will be to cause chaos and create an environment, the image, the perception that business, Kenya is ungovernable, okay? We cannot continue. There'll be violence, and the Maina Njengas, who have PhD in violence, they shall be used to create this havoc, okay? And the media shall do its job. Remember who owns the media? It's the very same people, the Rutos, Uhurus. They shall pump this image to Kenyans to force them to see that without this constitutional amendment that has been proposed by NADCO, we shall have carnage. Kenya shall not move forward. We shall not have peace. So they'll convince us. You heard Wetangula the other day say that for us to have peace, we should pass this thing. So that's what they'll do. And then once everybody is like, oh my goodness, the alternative, let's just pass this thing for the sake of peace, And they'll do that and pass it and create this opposition. But let's stay vigilant, Kenyans. Let's not allow them to do this. Even if they call out for Mandamano, let's be vigilant. Let's not fall for this thing. We do not need a constitutional amendment. We need the cost of living to go down. And we need a real opposition movement, a real revolution to take out the opposition in Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. All these guys have let us down. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I didn't want to make this video long. It's already 15 minutes, but if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Comment, share, like. Tell me what you think in the comment section, and we can have a chat. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Tell me what you think. How are they going to pass this thing? And if it goes to a referendum, will they vote yes? Will the Kenyan people accept it? Subscribe, like, share, comment. And I'll talk to you guys later. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Peace and blessing.